Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Chamberlain Usoa, Channels Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Vincent Makori from Voice of America in Washington.
Thanks, I'm Vincent Makori at the Voice of America in Washington. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Due to the global outbreak of COVID-19, our broadcast looks a little different for now. We appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Chamberlain Uso in Lagos brings you that story.
President Muhammadu Buhari has launched the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy 2021. He says this will serve as a platform to effectively confront the dynamic nature of threats in the nation's cyberspace. Well, this comes as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, continues to defend the bank's decision to ban all accounts for cryptocurrency transactions.
President Muhammadu Buhari unveils the revised National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy at the State House, Abuja. The revised policy is expected to limit the cyber threats that Nigeria could be exposed to.
The National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy 2021 will provide us with the necessary platform to effectively confront the dynamic nature of threats in our cyberspace, and it ensures that our national cybersecurity program is prioritized among other national exigencies in our administration.
Nigeria ranks 57th on the Global Cybersecurity Index, and the federal government is adopting several policies to increase penetration of the internet in the daily lives of citizens, particularly the National Broadband Plan 2020-2025, among others. In the meantime, the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, stands his ground on the ban on accounts engaged in cryptocurrency transactions. He made this known while addressing the Senate's Joint Committees on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, ICT and Cybercrime, and Capital Market.
We know that cryptos or bitcoins have been used to facilitate scam, which we all popularly call 419 transactions. They have been known to facilitate money laundering. They have been known to be an avenue through which kidnappers receive ransom, and they have been known to be instruments that are used to finance terrorism. Our business is not a popularity contest. Our business is to protect the uninformed and ensure that those who seek protection in a regulated environment receive those protections.
Regulators, law enforcement, and the intelligence units of the country who were also present at the hearing hailed the decision of the central bank as a step towards securing Nigeria's financial institutions and fighting cyber crimes.
In 2018, a number of globally rated institutions were hacked and taken over by some rascals, and they all demanded payment in cryptocurrencies until those websites will be released.
In 2020, Nigeria had the second largest trade in cryptocurrencies in the world at $500 million.
Let's get more on this story from Olatunji Igbalajobi, the Board of Trustees member, Cybersecurity Experts Association of Nigeria. Well, thank you for joining us today on the program. Now, what do you make of the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy 2021 launched by President Buhari in Abuja?
Thank you for having me. I believe it's the right step in the right direction, and that shows a lot of improvements in what we have been clamoring for over the years for the review of the National Cybersecurity Strategy of 2014 for an improvement and a major update. And I want to appreciate the Office of the National Security Advisor to have put relevant stakeholders together, multi-stakeholder engagement to come up with the National Cybersecurity Strategy for 2021, which is an update of the 2014 Cybersecurity Strategy Policy. More importantly, one thing I find out in Nigeria is that we are so much very good at documentation, in terms of putting documentation in perspective. But much more, it requires a lot of implementation. And more importantly, compliance tracking, from ministry development and agencies, even to private sector as well. Compliance tracking in terms of the implementation of the national cybersecurity strategy.
Well, the internet can be used for lots of things, but the president is advocating that it be used for economic growth and national security going forward. What kind of effects or achievements, or if you like, outcomes, do you see happening from this?
Well, you agree with me that the Ministry of Digital Economy and Communication has really been clamoring for, digital economy in Nigeria, which is looking at penetrating internet expansion to ensure that we have a major revenue from adoption of technology, and that has actually given to improvement in the numbers of increase in payment system gateway in Nigeria. Especially mobile platform, payment gateway companies. But more importantly, to achieve this goal, I think there is a need for a broadband, penetration, a deep broadband penetration, especially to remote area and some rural environment where, you don't even have, a communication link.
Well, there was a huge controversy when the CBN governor announced that ban on cryptocurrency accounts, but he is insisting that that ban will go a long way in curbing cybercrime. Do you agree with this?
Well, CBN is trying to, protect Nigerian economy, so to speak, from illicit use of cryptocurrency. But you agree with me to a large extent. There are some central banks in the world who are already looking at the opportunity that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology actually, present. And there is no way about it. It's the future, and more importantly, I feel the prohibition. I mean, the ban on cryptocurrency in Nigeria. CBN may be right in their own view, but from industry perspective, we feel CBN should have actually come up with a regulatory process. Even if you're going to stop cryptocurrency transaction in Nigeria, in order to checkmate illicit use of the technology, but that should have been a regulatory process, a regulatory framework that our industry can really lay hand on, and engagement can start ongoing on how we can actually adopt this technology.
Well, one more thing, there's been this age-long debate on the need to regulate the internet, its use, especially on the social media, the use of social media, in order to curb the spread of fake news. What's your take on this?
I mean, there are no doubts. I mean, it's one of the things that we also preach as cybersecurity professional, watching out for fake news. And I think the major platform where people actually make use of in terms of social media, companies, and they have also put in some measure of confidentiality. Information that you can actually post on their link, on their page, or on their platform. So there have been levels of information that deep content. Trying to look at content management, content that are allowed on the major social network platform. And I mean, for us as a country, except if you want to alter the Freedom of Information Bill, that is until then we can begin to talk about, because I've known there has been a sponsor on social media bill. So, you have to first of all look at the Freedom of Information Bill. If there's an amendment to that, and while you are looking at that, you also have to bear in mind that you're also trying to infringe on people's fundamental rights. So I think there are measures to how government can actually tackle social media, and that is about monitoring. When you have a thorough monitoring on social media, and you're also working hand in hand with some of these social media giants on ensuring that when a misinformation is actually presented through the platform, there is an automatic process in place to ensure that that particular account is shut down.
Well, I guess that debate is not about to go away anytime soon. Well, Mr. Olatunji Igbalajobi, thank you for joining us today on Africa 54.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. As countries kick off vaccination campaigns in Africa amid mistrust over COVID-19 vaccine efficacy, health ministers are among the first ones to take the shot. VOA's Mariama Diallo reports on Senegal and Zimbabwe, two countries that began inoculating their populations using Sinopharm, the Chinese-made COVID-19 vaccine.
Senegal received 200,000 doses of the Chinese-made COVID-19 vaccine last week and started vaccinating on Tuesday. Health Minister Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr was the first in line to mark what he called a historic day.
Senegal is one of 7 countries among the 54 countries of the African continent to start the vaccination against COVID-19.
Priorities include healthcare workers, people over 60, and those with underlying health conditions. Sarr says in addition to the Chinese vaccine, the country is also looking at other possibilities to increase their stock.
The head of state is now finalizing talks with Russia to enable us to soon receive the Sputnik V. During the month of March, Senegal will also receive its first batch of the COVAX initiative.
Senegal is due to receive nearly 1.3 million vaccine doses through the World Health Organization-led COVAX initiative, which deployed a batch of 600,000 in Ghana this week as part of a first wave of coronavirus vaccines being sent to a number of low- and middle-income countries. In Zimbabwe, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, also the country's health minister, volunteered for the first Chinese-made vaccine as well. Amid reports of public mistrust over vaccine safety, Chiwenga said his ministry had done its homework.
My ministry conducted all scientific processes to ascertain the efficacy of Sinopharm vaccine.
Zimbabwe received 200,000 doses from the Sinopharm vaccine as a donation from the Chinese government. Another 600,000 doses purchased by Zimbabwe are expected to arrive early next week, according to government officials.
Guinea has started an Ebola vaccination campaign as authorities race to contain the first resurgence of the virus there since the world's worst outbreak in 2013 to 2016. In a statement, the World Health Organization says the vaccination uses the ring strategy, where all people who have come in contact with a confirmed Ebola patient are given the vaccine, as well as frontline and health workers.
A flight carrying the 11,000 vaccine doses against the Ebola virus arrived in Guinea on Monday, February the 22nd, in the capital Conakry, after it was delayed for a day by bad weather. The vaccination was launched in Gueki, a rural community in Nzerikore Prefecture, where the first cases were detected on February the 14th. Authorities say that the launch started with vaccination of health workers.
First of all, the vaccine will be received by the health workers, because they are the ones that are most exposed to cases, and they are the ones that receive patients that are infected by the Ebola virus.
The resurgence of the virus, which causes severe bleeding and organ failure, and is spread through contact with body fluids, has alarmed governments in the region and international health organizations. They are concerned that a major outbreak could overwhelm health infrastructures already battling a pandemic.
Everyone must come and get vaccinated because the government, partners, each and everyone wants to help us to deal with this illness.
Between 2013 and 2016, more than 11,000 people died in the West Africa Ebola epidemic, which began in Guinea. In response to that epidemic, vaccines were developed, which have since been successfully used to fight outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
It's time for a short break. We'd like to remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. And still to come, locust plagues in Kenya are seemingly worse than they've ever been. But there may be a silver lining, after all, if this startup is successful.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. President Joe Biden's reversal of restrictive immigration policies implemented by the Trump administration includes welcoming more refugees to America, raising hopes for some of the world's most desperate people. But experts say it will take time to restore the U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program. VOA's Eileen Barrows has our story.
In a ticketing office in Nairobi, Kenya, Abdirazak Noor Ibrahim keeps tabs on America.
And I'm humbled by the trust and confidence you placed in me.
Originally from Somalia, Ibrahim fled war-torn Mogadishu in 2004 and became a refugee. He and his family were approved to travel to the U.S. for resettlement in early 2017. Just as Donald Trump became president and signed proclamations restricting travel from several majority Muslim countries, including Somalia.
I passed all the interviews, health and everything. Then the former president introduced a travel ban. I have been here in the last 4 years, and before that, I have been here for more than 10 years, hoping that I will be resettled.
Ibrahim applauds President Joe Biden for lifting travel restrictions and expanding U.S. refugee admissions. Starting in October, the U.S. is set to welcome up to 125,000 refugees a year, up from a 15,000 limit at the end of the Trump administration.
It's going to take time to rebuild what has been so badly damaged.
Some see challenges ahead, especially during a pandemic.
There will be a number of challenges, including on the funding level, on the staffing level, on just getting these processes up and going again. But arguably, the biggest or one of the biggest challenges at the moment to getting that program back to the robust levels that the U.S. administration has said it would like to see is the COVID pandemic.
Even so, U.S.-based resettlement organizations hope to be busy once again.
Really looking forward to staffing back up. So what we're planning on is, with some of our existing partners, opening additional offices.
But backers of Trump's policies have misgivings, saying more rigorous security vetting helps ensure resettled refugees pose no danger to the United States.
There was a review of the vetting program at the beginning of the Trump administration, and that needs to be done every few years. That should not be thrown out just because Trump's name was attached to it.
Refugee advocates say security concerns are overblown.
The truth is that a refugee is far less likely to commit any sort of crime than a native-born American.
Eleni Barrows, VOA News, Washington.
Kenya is battling some of the worst locust plagues in decades, but startup The Bug Picture hopes to transform the pests into profits and bring hope to the hopeless whose crops and livelihoods are being destroyed by the insects.
Scientists say warmer seas are creating more rain, waking dormant locust eggs, and cyclones that disperse the swarms are getting stronger and more frequent. However, a startup company, The Bug Picture, is working with communities around the area of Laikipia, Isiolo, and Samburu in central Kenya to harvest the insects and mill them, turning them into protein-rich animal feed and organic fertilizer for farms. The locusts are collected at night by torchlight when they are resting on shrubs and trees.
Biological behavior of locusts is that they start roosting in the evening from 6:30 and up to 8 in the following day, 8, 9. So we normally like to have them try to start harvesting as early as 5:30 because they are sleeping, they are weak, they can't move, they can just be picked or they can shake the trees and collect. It's easier for them to collect. You can't collect locusts during the midday because they keep on flying.
Then milled and processed into powder, which is used in animal feed or an organic fertilizer.
Currently, we are doing the crushing of the locust after collecting them from the local communities last night. And after crushing them, now they'll be dried. After drying now, they'll be taken for milling. Milling now is when now it will be processed into powder and now it will be packed. Then the formulation now starts from there, where the locust powder is being added other components to form animal feed and organic fertilizer for farms.
To formulate animal feed for fish, poultry, dairy, and pigs, because locusts apparently have like 70% of protein. So it substitutes the biggest protein, and the most expensive part of animal feed is the protein. So the community here around are collecting locusts. Once they collect, they are weighed, then they are paid.
In central Kenya's Laikipia, clouds of locusts are devouring crops and other vegetation. The bug picture is targeting swarms of 5 hectares or less in inhabited areas not suitable for spraying. Swarms can travel up to 150 kilometers a day and can contain between 40 to 80 million locusts per square kilometer. The bug picture pays residents 50 Kenyan shillings per kilogram of the insect. Between February the 1st and 18th, the project oversaw the harvest of 1.3 tons of locust, according to the startup's Laura Stanford, who said she was inspired by a project in Pakistan overseen by the state-run Pakistan Agricultural Research Council.
As the world continues to grapple with prevention, education for COVID-19, a man in Kenya can be found pulling the string. Puppeteer Michael Mutai uses his craft to entertain and educate about the dangers of the virus and is gaining quite a following. Victoria Amunga has more from Nairobi.
41-year-old Kenyan Michael Mutahi is putting his 2 decades of puppeteering skills to use for educating on COVID-19.
And everybody else was actually doing something on hand washing and everything. You know, it's hand washing, keep distance. Everyone was actually saying the same thing. But I look at myself and ask myself, I'm a writer. I'm a puppeteer. I can edit. I can do all these things. So I think I can come up with something more creative because guys are so bored at home. And they need information, and they also need to be entertained.
Kenya has close to 100,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and over 1,700 deaths. Mutahi's grandma and grandpa puppets teach coronavirus prevention to his growing audience.
For kids, it's better because kids would like more fun. It would draw their attention. When they're watching puppetry, it draws their attention for the young age.
Mutahi is among 100 professional puppeteers in Kenya. Director of Kenya's Institute of Puppet Theatre, Philemon Okoth, says they're doing more than just entertaining.
We have managed also to play a role in creating awareness in the community in relation to COVID-19. And we have several clips out there. Not only from KIPT, but also from partner organizations that we've trained that actually we coordinate most of their work, and also from individual.
Kenyan authorities are supporting the use of puppets for COVID-19 education, including using a mobile cinema to reach people.
We take the art to them. More importantly, because of COVID-19, right now the idea of having closed door theater is not very popular because you are limited because of social distancing. So this mobile cinema unit will become very popular.
For Mutahi, the merging of COVID prevention teaching and puppetry means his art will reach an even larger audience in Kenya. Victoria Amunga for VOA News, Nairobi.
They don't understand that people like us are very vulnerable to the coronavirus. Oh, tell her not to come here. I'm sure she's safe wherever she is.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word from Lagos.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. ChannelsTV.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Chamberlain, so thank you for watching. Goodbye.